Powered by Riverside FM.
What were you doing at the age of 22? Man, I think back about that, and I damn sure wasn't ready to take over an NFL franchise and be the face of a franchise at 22. Well, that's the predicament that J.J. McCarthy finds himself in. And that's why there's a lot of pushback out there from a lot of people. Is he ready? See, I think if you think he's ready, then you're saying that he's a special type of person, a special type of individual, which I think he is. Think about all the pressures that J.J. McCarthy has been under in a lot of different places. And he continues to pass the test. Well, this is going to be his biggest test. The great thing about it is that he's not going to the New York Jets. He's not going to the Titans. He's not going to the Browns. He's not going to one of these franchises that traditionally has struggled. You could argue that this is the best opportunity that any early picked quarterback has ever stepped into. Rumor had it last year at the draft that everybody wanted to be drafted by the Minnesota Vikings just because of the weapons that they had, the culture, and the coach that's there in Kevin O'Connell. See, I think this is almost foolproof. Does this mean that he's not going to stub his toe at times? Absolutely not. Does it mean that he is not going to throw picks and make mistakes? Absolutely not. Like, those things are going to happen. But if the coaches, his teammates, and the fan base is patient with him, I think you're going to get a hell of a franchise cornerback. Some people are calling him mini Joe Burrow already. And I don't want him to be another Joe Burrow. I want him to be J.J. McCarthy. I think his ability to decipher plays, everybody talks about his physical traits and what he brings to the table in terms of his arm. But this guy is into mental toughness too, mental training, meditates before every game. And he's been on some really, really good teams in high school, IMG Academy in Florida. Those guys are no scrubs. Tons of D1 players go through that program every year. The Michigan Wolverines, keep in mind, man, the Michigan Wolverines have been on a losing streak to my Ohio State Buckeyes for years until J.J. McCarthy showed up. And not only did he beat the Buckeyes, didn't lose to the Buckeyes, but he helped Michigan win a national championship. That championship DNA. And now he's stepping into the best teammates, the most talent that he's ever had at any point in time. And that's with the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody is trying to bypass J.J. McCarthy. And I think the Aaron Rodgers stuff is still out there. Why it is, I don't know. But they're talking about Aaron Rodgers is going to sit back and he's going to wait until the Minnesota Vikings have to call him. He's going to wait for J.J. McCarthy to fail. Well, Aaron Rodgers, I believe, is going to be waiting for a long time because I just don't see any failure in this kid. Like, when you combine the quarterback whisperer in terms what KOC brings to the table, the offensive scheme, what he wants to do, a revamped running game, a remolded, a remade offensive line, how does J.J. McCarthy fail? You guys saw him in the preseason game last year, and I don't want to hear that he was playing against second and third stringers. So what? He was a second and third stringer himself last year. Go back and watch the throws. Go back and watch the film. J.J. McCarthy is legit, bruh. He is legit. And I'm going to continue to make podcasts about these guys because I want to build that foundation of support for him. There are still people out there that are looking at the whole Aaron Rodgers deal and saying, hey, we should have brought Aaron Rodgers in. If the Minnesota Vikings would have brought Aaron Rodgers in, as I've said before, I would have supported it. But I'm also happy that they didn't because now we can roll with the youngster. There are some guys that just have it. There are some guys that are overpraised, like Mr. Football, Johnny Manziel. You see these guys coming out of college, they're totally overhyped. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is one of those guys, man. The proof is in the pudding. Just go back and look at his resume. Just go back and look at the clips. J.J. McCarthy is going to be ready to go. And now you drop that type of player with the championship DNA. You drop that type of player into a team that's ready-made in the trenches, to a team that's ready-made in the backfield, to a team that has an insurance policy such as T.J. Hawkinson running drag routes across the field. One of the best, speediest number 2 receiver in Jordan Addison, and the best wide receiver in the game, Jets, Justin Jefferson. On the other side of the ball, you've got the mad scientist in terms of Brian Flores, who's building a bully on defense. He's not done. There are defensive needs that he's going to address, like the secondary, in the draft. He obviously has a voice in that room when it comes to personnel decisions on the defensive side of the ball. All of that said about the Vikings, all of that said, now you're dropping a 22-year-old stud in the middle of one of the best rosters in the league. I think they're going to call Minnesota the Minnesota Vikings next year a surprise team. I'm here to tell you that it's not going to be a surprise to me. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's struggles are going to be such where it's going to hamper the team so much that they can't win. I think out of the 6 quarterbacks that were drafted in last year's draft, obviously the Commanders found themselves a gem. They found themselves a gem. But outside of the Commanders, I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be right there. And I just can't wait to see this kid hit the field. The Minnesota Vikings have found them a gem. What they do at number 2 quarterback position remains to be seen. I think they have a wink-nudge deal with Joe Flacco. I think they're going to wait until after the draft so it doesn't hamper the compensatory pick formula. And I think Joe Flacco is going to be a Minnesota Vikings. And the stage is going to be set for OTAs, and the stage is going to be set for training camp, UP Nation. We have a future franchise quarterback. And I'm like a kid at Christmas, man. I just can't stop talking about it. The kid is going to be stellar, and I just can't wait to see him full-time in purple. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with him in preseason. He's obviously going to need reps. I know they put a lot of stock in those joint practices, but he is coming off a knee injury. So I don't know how much play time he's going to get in terms of preseason games. I think a lot of his reps are going to be with those joint practices. But after that, they're going to hand this kid the torch. And I just can't wait. The Minnesota Vikings, the more I do my research on J.J. McCarthy, the more great things I find out. And the Minnesota Vikings have found themselves a gem. This has been Unconventional Playbook, man. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Please consider becoming a member. Those that become members will be entered into a drawing to win a Minnesota Vikings Winter Warrior jersey. And as always, UP Nation, we will make sure to see ya when we see ya. Skol.